Joining us now with her outlook on the currency markets is Jessica Hoversen, foreign exchange analyst at MF Global. Jessica, great to have you in studio. So today is a great day for you to come in, certainly for us, but I'm sure a busy one for you. The data this morning seems to have really rocked the markets, but do you think what we're seeing with the dollar today is going to be an ongoing trend? We've been talking the last few days about the dollar bulls out there.
Generally, I believe that the dollar is going to gain most of its momentum in the latter portion of the year. I think with the end of quantitative ease and an agreement on the debt ceiling, which I do believe that congressional leaders will be able to reach across the aisle and shake hands. And also, I think that the U.S. economy still will pick up in the fourth quarter. We are expected to get a weak non-farm payrolls number this Friday, but we have to consider that there are weather impacts embedded within that figure, also supply disruptions from the supply chain disruptions happening in Japan. And I don't necessarily think that that paints the true picture of the U.S. economy. So I generally think that the U.S. recovery picks up later in the year and thus picks up the dollar.
So I was reading a few different analyst reports out this morning, and there was one that was saying that today's dollar movement, and actually the last week, we talked about a strong month of May, but the last week has been a tough one for the dollar. He's talking a little bit about the fact that maybe some people are now pricing in a quantitative easing 3. Is that something that you're looking at? I think we have to be very careful to say that the Fed is ready to quantitative ease yet again. Now, I'm not sure if the political will is there. Now, there are people within Congress already talking about removing some of the Fed's mandates. And given that information and given the fact that inflation is a risk, yet though we are seeing commodity prices coming down, I think quantitative easing yet again would be a risk to the overall economy. That being said, it doesn't necessarily mean that we couldn't see something priced in following a very weak payrolls. I just don't think it has any legitimacy. What do you think about the euro? Now, we've been talking quite a bit about the euro. Of course, a number of things going on over in the eurozone region that has been fueling part of the dollar rally that we saw over the month of May. But what does this mean for the euro now going forward? It's amazing. The Greek tragedy would make Antigone look like Sesame Street, wouldn't it? I just think that there are so many confusing headlines, and it's making investors very nervous. However, looking ahead, I believe that the stronger recovery in the core, the interest rate differential between EU and the U.S., and the fact that I think the Troika will come back and recommend that Greece receives another aid package without any sort of reprofiling will be favorable for the euro in the short term. However, in the long term, I think we have to be very conscious of the two-speed economy, and I think that these differing growth differentials will appear in different domestic demand trajectories, and that's going to make ECB policy prescription very difficult. Now, we have the June meeting coming up next week, and I do believe the ECB is going to signal a rate hike in June. However, after that, I'm not sure how much more they can continue to hike rates, given, again, this two-speed economy. And just 10 seconds here on the Swiss franc. We've seen what maybe some would call a knee-jerk reaction in a flight to safety. It's considered a safe haven currency. Does that currency, do you think, continue to rise through the rest of the year? In the near term, yes, I do believe it does. However, if we see some of the pressures in the eurozone, especially considering the Greek crisis subside, Euro Swissy should be able to gain some upside momentum. All right, Jessica, appreciate you breaking it down for us. That's a lot of information packed into just a few minutes. Thanks so much for joining us. That was Jessica Hoversen, foreign exchange analyst at MF Global.